Adding labels to your sources in Kairos is very simple, and it'll only make things easier as you move through your build to your production. When we want to add labels to an input or any source in Kairos, we want to be working in our Config Input tab. In this tab, we can see all of the inputs that we have enabled. So for our demonstration today, we have some Aja playback decks that are already labeled and some PTZ cameras as well. So we can see, for the most part, all of these inputs already have a label. But where did they get that label and how did they get that label? Well, very simply, if we want to relabel or label to begin with a source, the only thing we need to do, come to this menu, right click, and rename that input. So instead of playback deck 8, maybe this is going to be red. So playback 8 will now be known as red. I've relabeled it here in our inputs menu side. And what's great in Kairos is doing this one step in this one menu will now populate that name across all of the inputs or across all of the places that this input shows up, whether that's on our multi-viewer. So if I jump over to our multi-viewer tab, we can now see that PIP10 is now labeled red, or even on my control surface. These names carry throughout the software. If I were to do a source change here, so if I want to change this, now on my input sides, instead of seeing Aja 8, I now see red. So by making one simple name change on the inputs config page, now that name is populated throughout all of the software. Similarly for PTZ cameras, so we can see IP9 has a PTZ icon here. On this same page, if I were to go to a PTZ camera, I can relabel that PTZ camera, but I also get an interface to all of the presets and all of the saved presets on that camera head. So we can see right now all of the different presets that are saved and configured as a part of this UE150. If I wanted to relabel these presets, I can also do that from this inputs page as well. Simply right click, rename this preset. Maybe this is our wide shot. So now we know that this preset is renamed and as a wide shot. I don't need to remember what does preset 2 show me. And of course, you also see the wonderful thumbnails provided by our UE150. So all of these labels, all of this simple renaming is done from our inputs config page. And these types of labels will only help you, again, as you begin your production and as you move into that live environment. Now we're taking the guesswork away. Instead of remembering input 1 is camera 3, now that input just becomes and is renamed camera 3.